John.
Sean, there's a report this morning that you reached out directly to the CIA Director Pompeo. Did you directly contact Director Pompeo and ask him to knock down the New York Times story on the Russia connection?
Thanks, John. Let me, kind of, if I may, walk through the entire timeline. I think it's important. As I mentioned, I think a week ago, the New York Times published a story about what they called contacts between members of the Trump campaign and Russian officials. The FBI deputy director was at a meeting here at the White House that morning. After the meeting concluded, he asked the chief of staff to stand back a second. He wanted to tell him that the report in the New York Times, quote, BS. For viewers at home, I think you can pretty much figure what that means, but I'll leave it at that. At that time, the chief of staff said, "Thank you for sharing that with me. Can we let other people know that the story is not accurate?" Throughout the day, they went back and forth to see what they thought was appropriate. Finally came to the conclusion that they did not want to get in the process of knocking down every story that they had issues with. We then were informed that other people had come to the same conclusions, including that time Chairman Devin Nunes had told us, "Hey, I've been knocking this down, telling reporters." We shared a number with him of a reporter that had contacted us. And again, when the reporters contacted us and we said, no, that's not, to the best of our knowledge, it's not true, they were asking us, can you point to anybody else that can substantiate this? And I think we did a good job of saying, sure, we will share with reporters other people who have come to the same conclusion. So I won't go into the specifics. I will say that I think we did our job very effectively by making sure that reporters who had questions about the accuracy and the claims made in the New York Times, that we were pointing them to subject matter experts who understood whether or not that story was accurate or not. And I think just to continue to be very, very clear on this, it was about the accuracy of the reporting and the claims that were made in there, plain and simple, about whether or not a story that appeared in the New York Times was accurate. And individual after individual continued to say that they, as far as they knew, they weren't. I think most of you probably saw Chairman Nunes' comments this morning. He was very clear, number one, that he reached out to us to say, I've been telling people, reporters, that these allegations and descriptions in the New York Times are not accurate. And then we shared that information with him, but he came to us to share that he equally had that issue brought up to him. He was briefed and saw, quote, no evidence that the story was accurate. So the answer is, we have continued.
Take you live now to the floor of that.